All right, I think we're live. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to SEO.ninja. My name is Tristan, and today we are starting on our Weebly tutorial series for 2020. I checked, I think we've actually been doing this since like 2015 or 2016, I think is the last public one I have on here. So we've been doing these videos now for like the last 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years. And that's kind of ridiculous. You think Weebly would pay me for something that I've been doing over here by now, but that's okay. We'll save that for later. So what we're going to be doing today is we're basically just going to be taking a look at Weebly. We're going to be talking a little bit about what it does, how it works, how it compares to some of the other platforms out there. So that way you guys can make an informed decision about whether or not you want to use Weebly to build your websites. So the questions that we're going to be asking and answering in this video is, what is Weebly? Is it easy to use? How much does it cost? How does it compare to other platforms? Is it good for SEO? And then whether or not you should actually use it. If you guys have any extra questions for me, you can leave those in the chat. We'll get to those at the end of the video. Because we are doing this live because editing videos all day kind of isn't much fun. And this is a lot faster and is a lot more engaging. So we're going to do this instead. Whew. Okay, so first question is, what is Weebly? So Weebly is a drag and drop visual builder. What you see is what you get website builder. So basically what that means is that when you are building your website like this, then you can take items, in this case we have tiles over here on the left hand side of the screen, and basically you just drag and drop them onto the site wherever you want them to go. And then since it's a visual builder, you can just click on this and you can change this and say something like, "Hi everybody, buddy," like that. And then what you see on screen is basically what you're going to see once the website actually goes live. There's going to be very little variation between that. If you want to add an image, which we already kind of did over here, you just grab the image tile, drag it onto the screen, click on that, and then you pick a picture that you like. So we're going to use our thumbnail, like so. Give that a second to load up. Did we break it? Well, we're streaming, so everything's a little bit slower. But there you go. That's how you add an image to the website. So it's really, really easy. It makes it very simple for people who aren't like super design savvy like myself to make a website that doesn't suck, which is great. We like it when our websites aren't horrible. This is actually the website that we're going to be building. I'll tell you a little bit more about this here in a little bit, but that's how it works. The other important things to note is that Weebly is based on HTML and CSS, which is important. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And this is how you find those different files and different segments where you can edit this information. But that's pretty much what it is. I think that the three things that Weebly does best is it's really good for blogging. It has a very good, easy to use blogging feature, which is actually how I started using it back in the day. I used it as a blog. It's really good for very simple, easy to maintain business websites. So if you are wanting to build a website for your business and you don't have to worry about going and upgrading or updating your plugins every other day, or the entire website catches on fire like you have to deal with in WordPress, then Weebly is definitely going to be an option for you. And then the other thing that I think it does really well is it's actually a really robust e-commerce platform. So typically when you think of e-commerce, we're either going to be thinking of Shopify, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, or WordPress using like WooCommerce or something. Now, Shopify, kind of expensive, not a ton of options when it comes to like design. Like you do have themes and those kind of things that you can buy, or you can have somebody design something specifically for you, which you have to pay somebody to do. Or you can use Weebly, which is going to be relatively easy, and you use the same drag and drop features to build the e-commerce side of your site. WooCommerce, I'm not going to say anything about WooCommerce because every time I even think about it, I get a headache. So that's that. Next question, as far as ease of use, definitely very easy to use. Like we just kind of showed you guys how to add stuff to the site. You can also do like, where is my section? Drag sections in here, and you could like, hey, this is for our restaurants. We're going to add a menu in here. Like, hey, here are some really cool like menu templates that you can use. So you could just drop that in there and then you hit save. Like, look, you've got a pre-built section. You just have to fill in your own information here. That's really fast. It's really easy. It's really easy. And like, this looks really good, right? You had like an actual designer who went and built this as compared to me who thought that, hey, that doesn't look bad. So that's definitely an option as well. The next question that everybody wants to know is how much the thing actually costs, and that is right here. So we're going to go over here to pricing. I already have it open. So there are 4 payment plans available for Weebly. You have a free plan, which is okay. If you're choosing between the free and the personal, might as well just stick with the free. The difference between the personal campaign or personal package is that you can attach it to a custom domain, which is great. That's fine, but it's not really worth the $6. Especially since they're going to leave all of their branding on the website. It's going to say like powered by Weebly down here in the bottom, and like it's going to have some other ads for them on there if you're still using the personal plan, which I think is dumb, but whatever. If you're going to be doing anything as far as like a small business or a medium-sized business, you're probably going to want to go with at least the professional plan. So that's going to be $12 a month if you pay all at once for a year, or $16 if you go month to month. This is less expensive than other platforms, and it's definitely a lot cheaper than having someone like my wife, who is my designer and my website guru, come in and manage that and make sure nothing explodes every month. If you're wanting to do like really crazy e-commerce stuff, then you'll want to go with this. And that's going to be $26 annually or $29 month to month. One of the interesting things to note is that their biggest competitor, which again is going to be Shopify, starts with their basic plan at the same price of $29 a month. So you're actually getting a lot more value out of the performance plan here on Weebly than you would using this, but that's just my opinion. So that's how much it costs. And then comparing it to other platforms, that's kind of what we're going to be doing right now. Before I get into that, I kind of need to explain how Weebly works in this kind of environment. Okay, so let's pull up the code real quick. Actually, let's not even do that. let's talk about Mac or Apple computers and PCs, right? Your Apple or your Windows computers. So with Apple computer or an Apple phone or Apple whatever, then basically what happens is they create or they plan out and build very specific machines. Okay, there's very, very little variation. There's very little customization you can get between the different machines. They have one like line of product, which is one pre-built computer, and that's what everybody buys. All right. And of course, they have like different, very, very minor variations of that, just for some different price points. But for the most part, like you're not going to be buying upgrades to your Mac computer. You're not going to be buying like a new video card because there's not really any way that you can go in and you can make those changes. I mean, anyways. So what happens then is because all the hardware is going to be very uniform, and because the systems and everything else is going to be very uniform, then when you are designing software for that computer, then you only have to optimize for a very, very small list of variables, a very small list of different possible combinations of that hardware. And what happens is that you're then able to make the software run very, very efficiently on that hardware. All right. Now, the downside to that is that it costs more, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen the price of an Apple product compared to its Android or Windows version, but the prices are ridiculous. And the other problem is that you don't have as much customization. Okay. Whereas with a Windows computer, you're not necessarily buying like a pre-built system. You certainly can, but for the most part, then you're actually buying like the individual products that go into the system, into that computer. So you're buying your computer tower, you're buying the motherboard, you're buying the hard drive, you're buying the video cards, you're buying all this different stuff, and then it's just all being put together and connected. Now, the problem with that is that there are a lot of different kinds of hard drives. There are a lot of different kinds of motherboards. There are a lot of different towers. And all of those things are going to affect the efficiency and the productivity of that system. So, you can do a lot more with a Windows computer as far as customization. And you have a lot more options for it. But you also run into the risk of compatibility issues. You run into risks of you goofing something up. Like maybe you installed the wrong kind of RAM on your computer. Maybe you installed the wrong kind of video card. And so you have a lot more risk of things going wrong. Okay? So what does that have to do with Weebly and with other platforms? Weebly is basically the Apple of website builders. Okay? Everything within Weebly is built to work with Weebly. Everything is custom coded. Everything is built specifically to work on here. And so it's going to run fast. It's going to be efficient. It's not going to break all the time. It's going to be a pretty good, solid website that requires very little maintenance. Now, let's look at the exact opposite end of the spectrum. That's going to be WordPress. Okay, WordPress is your super tweaked out, overclocked computer. Okay, your Windows computer. You can do anything with WordPress. If you want to build a membership site, WordPress can do it. If you want to build a video streaming platform, you can do it with WordPress. If you want a blog, you can do it with WordPress. If you want an e-commerce website, you can do it with WordPress and WooCommerce and all the other stuff that's out there. Like, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with WordPress, and it can be really cool. You can also run into issues like one of the things that I had to recently fix, where my caching plugin wasn't cooperating with my contact form plugin, and it broke all of my contact forms. And so we weren't getting any leads for a little while. Fortunately, it wasn't on a client website, but those are the kind of things that you have to worry about when you're dealing with WordPress, because the things aren't necessarily built to work together. They're designed to work with WordPress, but that doesn't mean the individual parts are designed to talk to each other or to cooperate, and that can cause some problems. So if you want cheap and crazy modifiable and customizable, you're going to want to go with WordPress. If you want something where you just build it once and then you don't have to worry about it, you're going to want Weebly. Comparing that then to things like Shopify. Shopify is really, really good for e-commerce, but that's really all it does. That's all it's designed to do is e-commerce. The next one people always ask about is Wix. Wix is bad. I feel guilty and dirty for even having the website up on my computer. To kind of explain why, so all these other platforms use HTML and CSS to build their websites, right? So you open this up. I'll take a step back. So when people talk about a platform being SEO friendly, then they're talking about two different things. And we're actually going to dive into this here in just a second. But they're talking about how easy it is for Google to read the code of the website, to get to this part and to read it. And then the other thing that it talks about is how much control the website owner has over this code. Okay? So Weebly's kind of in the middle of the road. WordPress, again, you can do all kinds of crazy SEO stuff with it. Wix, you really can't. And the reason why is because Wix doesn't actually use HTML and CSS or even PHP. They use something called Ajax. And it can, probably the best way to think of it is that it's more like an app. So like an app that you download on your phone is what you're going to see with a Wix website. And so what happens is when the robots from Google come over and they try to read all this and it's empty, then they're like, oh, this website's empty, because they can't see anything else. They can't pull the data from the app center, like the app way that that's set up. And so they just basically see an empty website, and then they remove it from their index, which means that the entire website you built is now no longer on Google. And you just joined the dark web. Congratulations. Whereas with these other platforms, you can see there's a lot of code here. There's a lot here for it to read. So that's kind of how Weebly compares to some of the other platforms that are out there. I see Weebly as kind of being a middle of the road option. I think that it's good. And like I said, for very low maintenance stuff, it definitely does the job. Now, second to last question that we just kind of talked about is how good Weebly is for SEO. So again, it's kind of in the middle of the road. You can go in and you can manually edit the HTML and the CSS of your website. You do that by coming to the builder, clicking on theme. Then down here it says edit HTML and CSS. You can come in and you can change all of this. You can edit everything. So if you wanted to add in 4 or 5 levels of header code, then you can do that. Also, if you really wanted to, you can just come over here and get the embed code. So the thing that everybody always complains about is going to be the headers, but you can just go like this, H2 like that, and we're going to say hi, and then go like that, and close. And there you go. Now you've got an H2 on your website, and you can go down to like an H50. I don't know what the actual limit is, but that's how easy it is to come in and optimize this. Now, do they tell you that that's how you create like an H2 on your website? No, they don't. But you can create H1s, which is just going to be your header. That's going to be with the title tag. And it's very easy. It does have some other SEO options over here. Nothing too crazy. The pages themselves also have SEO option or SEO settings right here. Most of this isn't really going to be used. For the most part, what you're going to be concerned about when it comes to actually optimizing your website is the content of the site, the text, the images, the keywords that you're using. All that's going to be over here, and that's going to be the same across pretty much all the different systems that we're talking about. And then the other half of SEO is going to be your off-page SEO, and that's going to be your backlinks. It's going to be your citations and all the other stuff, and that is platform independent. It doesn't matter what platform you're using. It's all the same. So all things considered, Weebly is actually pretty good for search engine optimization. We're able to rank a lot of these websites without too much extra hassle, just because, again, some of the on-page SEO coming in and doing like these headers and everything else, it does take a little bit more manual work, but it is doable. Now, the reason that most other SEOs won't work with Weebly is because they don't know how, or they are so dependent on using their other plugins that they aren't willing to come in and do this work manually, right? So like with a WordPress website, then you can get Yoast or all-in-one SEO, or I forget the other one. I think it's called like SEO Math or something like that. And what it will do is it will automate a lot of that work for you. And so you don't have to actually go in and build your H1s or whatever. Or it will tell you, hey, you need more H2s or whatever. And it makes the job easier, but it doesn't do the work for you. So with this, the only real difference is that you don't have those extra guides supporting you for it. And so because of that, a lot of other SEOs, they're not really super interested in going in and doing the extra work. Okay, they don't want to do the manual stuff. They'd rather just have, the plugin tell them what they need to do. So as far as SEO, like I said, it works just fine. If you would like to learn more about search engine optimization specifically for Weebly, we actually have a Weebly course, our Weebly SEO course that we built, and I'll stick a link to that in the comments here or in the description as this video is uploaded. But it's just Weebly SEO Thinkific. I'll stick it in the chat too, just while we're here. Otherwise, I will forget. It's actually pretty good. We're really happy with how it came out. So there's that if you guys want to check that out. Excuse me. So last question, then we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, is who should be actually using Weebly? So again, people who are looking for very low maintenance websites, people who are looking for something that's just fast, easy to use, and that's not going to require a lot of attention once it's built, you want Weebly. If you are looking for crazy customization, you're probably going to want to go with WordPress. If you're looking for really, really crazy and extreme e-commerce stuff, might want to go with Shopify. If you're looking for a blog, there's just something cheap and easy or free, you might want to go with WordPress. Weebly does work really well for blogging. It does work really well for small to medium-sized e-commerce sites, and I think that it works especially well for websites for small businesses, for small to medium-sized businesses. And again, that's primarily because if you're running a business, you don't have time to go in and check your plugins every other day, right? You don't have, you can't run the risk of having compatibility issues and then having your website go down for 3 or 4 days. You don't want to have to deal with those extra risks. And so when it comes to that case, when it comes to those situations, it's cheaper and easier to just have something like Weebly where it's just going to work. Okay, I call it the headache tax. Okay, if I know that something's going to cause me a lot of headaches, I'd be willing to spend a little bit extra in order to avoid those headaches. So that's just my thoughts and my opinions on Weebly overall, and dealing with headache tax. But I think that covers everything that I was planning to cover. If there are any questions that you guys have for me, I didn't see anything in the chat, but go ahead and leave those in the comment section for me, and then I will take a look at that and answer them as best I can. We are also, like I said, working on the next set of tutorials. In fact, I've got that right here. I just need to sit down and edit this and then upload it. Whoops, come back. This is talking about site structure, and it's actually talking a little bit more about the website that we're going to be building in this year's tutorial. It's really cool. It's like normally we do kind of boring websites where it's like, a business profile or an affiliate website or a blog or whatever. This thing is a job hunting marketplace. And so, but what's even crazier is that we are building it all in Spanish, and it's just here for my local area. So I live in a place called Cache Valley, Utah, and so we're building it to cover all of Cache Valley, and it's really cool. And so The next video, what it does is it talks about how we structure the website, how we organize our content, and then it also talks about how we make sure that the website is easy to use. And then like this is how we actually build the pages that are going to be on the website. So it's pretty neat. I'm really excited about this. And like I said, I'm going to edit that video and upload it here as soon as I'm finished. So you guys can check that out. But I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. If you have decided that you still want to use Weebly after watching all of this, which, like I said, I think it's definitely a viable option, then do consider using our affiliate link. It's our commission referral link. So what happens with that is that if you use that link and then you decide to actually purchase a plan through Weebly, then we get a commission off of it. So it's not a ton of money. We're not going to get rich off of it, but it does go a long way in helping to support the creation of this content. So if that is something you guys are interested in doing, like I said, if you want to help support the channel, then you can definitely check that out. And again, that will be in the comments and the descriptions. But I think that covers everything. I hope you guys have an excellent day. I hope this information has been helpful to you. And I'll see you in the next video.